Hello, and thank you for joining Trust Love Entertainment in the segment of Garage Talk with the Fellas. So today I have with me an esteemed member of the community, Anthony Parker. Anthony is going to be talking with me a little bit about his desires, his goals, his dreams, his support of the youth in the community, and his passion behind all of that. So thank you so much, Anthony, for joining me.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you coming. I'm just going to read a little bit of your bio,
Okay.
if you're okay.
All right.
So Mr. Parker is currently a varsity head coach with West Carrollton High School, is the founder and owner of Extraordinary Male Mentoring Group, the EM2G Summer Camp, for young men ages 5 to 14 years old, and founder of the Dayton Pilot Amateur Athletic Union, the AAU program. The Pilot AAU program has served over 500 Dayton area youth. He was recognized as a Dayton, Ohio High School Sportsmen's Basketball Coach of the Year through mentoring and coaching over the last 17 years. He has impacted the lives of over 1,000 youths. Mr. Parker is an inspiration to the Dayton, Ohio community. His EM2G program provides mentorship for young males of color ages 6 to 14. Referrals for this year-round program come from various sources that include parents, teachers, and principals, and the young men are accepted from various schools. The summer camp is held every day and operated primarily by African American males. The program is designed to teach young men conflict resolution with peers, officers of the law, life skills, leadership, agricultural and community awareness. The goal is to enrich their mind, body, and soul through exercise, mental nourishment, and African American pride. Well, Mr. Parker, that's just a snippet of all the things that you do. And first, I want to start and say thank you for what you do in the community.
No problem.
One of the reasons that I asked you to come is because I'm, as a parent, am very, very, very passionate about how our youth are poured into.
Sure.
And so just watching your story and just following you, I was just very impressed. And I felt like the community needed to hear and find out what your passion is and how we can bring more young men like you into our young men's lives and our young women's lives so they can be successful.
Okay.
So one of the questions that I have for you is, how did you come to be passionate in mentoring? And is there a difference between mentoring and coaching?
Wow, those are two really great questions. First, I would probably say that one of the things that initially drew me into wanting to mentor is that this is years ago when I got out of college. I worked at Montgomery County Juvenile Detention Center. So, that'd be equivalent to a corrections officer at the adult facility. So at that time, I maybe was 22 years old, 21 years old. So there were a lot of young men that weren't very much younger than me, 17, 18 years old.
Sure.
So, at that point, I recognized that these young men were incarcerated for things that they have done. And how cool or how awesome would it have been to be able to reach these young men before they made those mistakes and they were in there.
Okay.
Oftentimes they listened. They were very open to new ways of living their life. But at that point, they were already locked up. I hate to say it, but I mean, they were already locked.
Sure.
So I said, well, man, it was something that always stuck with me and said, hey, if you ever had the opportunity, why not try to help these kind of young men not even go to jail in the first place?
That's right.
So that was kind of the first time I thought that would be something I would want to do.
Okay, awesome. So the second part of that question, mentoring and coaching. So mentoring is something, it sounds like it comes natural to you because you have that passion.
Right.
And so does coaching. But what's the difference between the two as it relates to how you impact the lives of youth?
So when I first started coaching, it was a very big contrasting difference.
Okay.
Coaching was about this is almost 20 years ago. It was about wiping away the negative things. I don't want to use the word tearing down, but reconstructing to be strong enough to be able to withstand the competition of the game.
Okay.
All the while learning how to deal with adversity.
Okay.
Over time, these young men have evolved and times have evolved. And now mentoring and coaching are more of the same thing. Mentoring and coaching now are more similar because it's all about encouragement and all about help building self-esteem, because now with social media and all these other outlets of of seeing
Access
everything
to them,
instant,
sure.
it's easy for someone to be unsure of themselves. See, back then, if you told me that I was the greatest, I didn't have social media, I didn't have Instagram, internet, Snapchat.
So you were the greatest.
So if I felt, if I
Sure.
believed in you as the coach and I worked hard, well, I was the greatest. And, to a certain degree, that may affect my play.
Okay.
But now, if you tell me I'm the greatest, even if you tell me that, I can go look on
YouTube,
Snapchat or Instagram,
yeah.
and I may see 50 other guys better than me. So
Sure.
I just think now everything has evolved to what these young people are just different. Times do change, and I think mentoring and coaching now go kind of hand in hand because it's about building them up now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So kind of like the military, right? They kind of
Yeah,
break you down
that's
and
right.
build you up to kind of
That's right.
get you a different train of
That's
thought.
right.
Okay. So what do you believe are important factors in supporting the success of today's youth?
Well, I think that first off, I think that we were speaking earlier. I think people in general have kind of gotten away from the whole idea of a village raising a child.
Yes.
And that's
so
because
important.
we have become less open to the village raising our child.
That's true.
So that makes people in general who may want to lend a word of pardon, advice, or just a helping hand, less apt to do so because they don't know how it's going to be received, and they don't want to, they don't want to offend anybody because everybody's so easily offended. So I think that whole breakdown, especially in the Black community, has led to a lot of young men just not really having any guidance or any ways to go because, even like coming up, my father was in my life. Thankful to have my father in my life. Have both grandfathers.
Sure.
But I look back over instances and situations in my life. There were other men back then who weren't afraid to tell me what was right or wrong. My dad was at work. My grandparents may have been, I may not have been with them, but I may have been out somewhere with a baseball coach or somebody in the community, and they may say, "Hey, young man, you don't want me doing that."
Sure.
And then you listen to that. You respected that.
That was a level of respect.
Level
I
of
was ready to say.
respect. So, I think now, to me, the biggest breakdown is that nobody wants anybody to say anything negative about their baby. And
it's unfortunate because they're missing a valuable lesson.
Correct. So I think that's the biggest component I think in the Black community that I think we're kind of struggling with right now.
Yeah. Do you how do you think, or do you have an idea about how we can get back to that? Because I think that so much of what you're talking about in the Black community was broken because parents, lack of trust for other parents, kids being abused in homes.
Yeah.
Different factors have led to that as well.
Yeah.
So how do we build the trust as the Black community where I'm comfortable with you, Mr. Parker, correcting my son if I'm not there, and then coming and telling me so I can correct him again? Because days are old, you get a whooping by every neighbor going down the street.
That's right.
And people laugh about that, but that's what built us. That's
Absolutely.
what kept our character in check.
That's right.
And so now we don't have a character check.
We don't.
So do you have ideas about how we could do that?
Once again, I feel like back then, even if someone maybe made mistakes in the past or maybe had some past discretions, you didn't really focus on that because you didn't know about it. I mean, and you took what someone said at face value.
Sure.
So I think it's harder, but I think if you try to live a positive life, if you try to live righteous, nobody's perfect. You're gonna make mistakes, but if you try to do what you're supposed to be doing, and live with character and integrity, and that's what I always teach my guys. Who are you when nobody's looking?
That's it.
That's what your character and integrity. That's who you really are. So I think if we can begin to live like that, I think people become more inapt to allow you to do those things. So I think it's going to always be a case-by-case scenario in this cancel culture world that we live in right now.
We should stop canceling people.
I know. Anytime somebody did
something, God.
Right. Anytime you do something wrong, I can't listen to him no more. So I think that's become just a fad. But generally speaking, I feel like those who are very genuine about what they do and try to live their life that way, people and parents and kids will be more apt to listen and at least give it a try. So,
okay. So, as you coach,
Mhm.
as you mentor, what are some of the tools or steps that you take or keep in mind when you're forming relationships with the youth?
Well, I think, the biggest thing that I would probably say is that I try to let them know that regardless of what happens, whether it be good or bad, it's not going to change the fact that I care about them. I think for young men, a lot of what we do in the summertime, we have parents fill out bios about what their child needs to, what they like for their child to receive.
Okay.
And you'd be surprised how many moms would say, he doesn't trust men, doesn't trust men. So what we would often see is that first week or so, it'd be all good because relationships weren't just built just yet. So on surface, everything will be great.
Right, because you don't have to dig down deep or
That's
deal
right.
with anything.
And then the minute we started to have some adversity, or that young man started to feel themselves to get attached to myself or some of the other mentors that work with me, you would see them purposely withdraw or purposely try to sabotage it.
Because I'm not putting my feelings out there, right?
'Cause
But
I
that
don't wanna
goes
get-
back to the absence of the father.
Because I don't want to get hurt
right?
again. So
Because my daddy didn't
That's
show
right.
up. Daddy was supposed to come
That's-
get me, and I've been looking at the window for
That's
daddy
right.
for 2
That's
hours.
right.
Or I can't call my daddy, and he show up
That's-
for me.
Yep.
So in those regards, and I'm just going to jump subject
Sure,
for just
that's
a minute.
okay.
What would you say, or what advice would you give to fathers who are struggling to parent their children when their daughters and their son equally need them for the impact that they have in their lives? Though they impact their daughters different than their
Sure.
sons, the presence of the male in the life of the child, even if you're not in the home,
Right.
is just as important. So what word of encouragement would you give them?
Just to say that even if they don't voice it, they desperately, I mean desperately want their approval. They desperately want to have that relationship.
They just need to know dad is approving them.
Yeah,
Dad is
yeah.
okay, because that's what men do.
Yeah,
In the lives of their daughters,
Abs-
they affirm who
absolutely.
they are. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So, do you see? Well, we talked about this a little bit, but I'm going to go ahead and answer it. Do you see a change in the trends related to the youth of today versus the youth of old?
Oh yeah. We touched on that some, but yeah, just the fact that everything is instant. They want instant gratification. They want instant success. They want instant. There's no patience. There's no grind. We want it now.
They want the
We want-
platform without the process.
Yes, they want it now.
Yes.
They want it now.
Yes.
So, and I think that's the biggest thing that I've noticed from, even coaching, even mentoring back then, and even to now, these young men need to learn patience, need to learn work ethic. We talk about adding value to someone else's life. They often, because that's what kids do to a degree, but even now, they're so fixated on what they want, on what they need. We have a segment once a week where we ask the young men to kind of focus on whose life do you add value to?
Wow.
Because we teach them
Wow, that's good.
Yeah, because what we found out was that if you add value to someone's life, they'll fight to keep you in it. If you add no value to their life, eventually you become expendable.
That's good. When you said that, it made me think about when we were younger. Our parents used to volunteer at the church to serve food to the homeless.
Yeah.
Because we knew that we were, even though we may not have had a lot, we were more fortunate than this person. And if the little bit we got, we added value to somebody else.
Sure.
It's kind of like the biblical principle. Like if we do it, that God's going to give the increase.
Absolutely.
All we have to do is plant the seed,
Absolutely.
and God is going to water it.
For sure.
So I definitely can relate to that. So I appreciate that. That's good. What do you think of somebody if somebody wanted to be a mentor?
Okay.
What do you think the characteristics that are important for that person to possess or to have? What should that look like?
I think that first and foremost, you have to have a big heart, and you have to have patience.
Okay.
You have to understand that if you really want to do this thing, there are going to be different starting points for each individual.
Kid, yeah.
You got to kind of take them as they are, and you got to work with them. And everyone's success story may be different. Some may plateau at different levels, and that's okay. But I think as long as you are genuine, as long as you want to help them succeed, kids have an innate ability to
Tell when you
filter through BS.
I was gonna say that's great. When you feed them that BS, yes,
And
you're
if
right.
you are telling them something that you aren't living or trying to live, they can see through. They can see through it. I mean, and that's something that I picked up a long time ago. So I said, hey, if I'm gonna do this thing, I better be doing, practicing what I'm preaching. So, and I think from that, aspect, that scares a lot of people from doing it if they're not doing it for the right reasons, but at the same time helps some people be more successful in reaching more people if they are walking that walk.
So what do you say to that young man that's not necessarily a part of your mentor group, or that young lady that's not a part of your program, or doesn't have access to you, that really is looking for someone to kind of mentor them? How do we guide them to a place, to a program? Because I know the Boys and Girls Clubs are still out there, but how much are they impacting? Because when we were little, Boys and Girls Clubs were everything. Like it was your after school program. They were there. I don't see that as much anymore.
Not as much.
So how do we help them find that voice or find someone?
I mean, I think I would simply say use social media platform for kind of what it was intended for. I would, everybody is so quick to post or blast something that is wonderful, that is sometimes even unrealistic, because we want to have this appear to have this perfect life. But I think just asking for help, I mean, if you see somebody that you think is doing better than you, or somebody who could help you, it doesn't have to be a post where everyone can see, but just message them, hey, such and such, hey, I'm really struggling, do you mind helping me out?
Sure.
And you'd be surprised how many people who are willing to help if they are asked.
They just
because they don't want to step on anybody's toes, and they don't want to, make the village mad. But I think if they're asked, there are people who are willing to help.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I think
because they're on social media, you might as well put it out
there. Might as well.
Right?
Yeah. You might as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you think, we talked a little bit about Boys and Girls Clubs, do you think that their role in the community diminishing has also impacted the community? And should we, as the community, go to the Boys and Girls Club and say, we need to see your presence a little more, because we understood the value of having them in the community?
Well, I mean, I think it all boils down to perception.
Okay.
So, the perception of, when we went to Boys and Girls Club, we all went to Boys and Girls Club. So it was like, hey, we're all there. We're all the same. We're all part. I remember going to the Y. It was just what you did. It's what you did. But now I think that, for certain reasons, it's looked upon as being less than or needing more. And I think, the perception of it has steered a lot of young people, and even some parents, away from sending their kids there because they don't want to appear that their kid even needs help. So I think that it as a result, goes back to them having quiet desperation and hoping that things turn out, all the while not giving them the appropriate tools that are still there.
They're still there. Okay. Well, Mr. Parker, I appreciate you taking the time to meet with me. This has been a great interview, and we can definitely go on and on and on talking about our youth. But I just want to give you a few minutes to share whatever's on your heart with those who are listening about mentoring, about our youth, and we'll just wrap it up from there.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think you touched on just about everything. I just get involved. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Just get involved. I mean, even if it's nothing but just when you see young men at the gas station. I'm talking about as a man. I wouldn't say as for a woman.
Sure.
Yeah. If you see a guy at the gas station and maybe his pants are sagging, or maybe he's not, hey young man, how you doing? Just shake his hand, man. Just show him that there can be positive interactions between males, and there could be uplifting without anything, no gain from it.
Sure. Just
start small. Just not. I think everyone's gotten so hesitant on speaking when they see something wrong that it just, it's made it to where nobody wants to say anything because
sometimes it's the voice that they might actually need.
It may be the voice. You may stop them from going to do something that they were going to do wrong. You just don't know. So just do a little. Just do a little.
Well, there you have it. Thank you again, Mr. Parker, for joining Garage Talk with the Fellas. This has certainly been an enlightening conversation about our youth and how we can continue to pour into them, because they are the next generation in our community. So as you think about your day, think about how you added value to someone else. Thank you again, and have a good day.